The next presenter is joining us from online. Well, Professor Shim mentioned the case of China, and when we talk about cruise, we can't overlook China. So next one is about the case of China. The second presenter is researcher from China Merchants Group, Jia Hui, and she's joining us from online. And she earned her PhD in Shanghai Maritime University and at Korea Maritime Institute, or KMI. She served as a researcher in Shipping Policy Division of the KMI. Such a talent. So, are you ready?
네.
소리 네네. 그러면 중국 크루즈 현황과 있습니다.
So please start your presentation on the current state of Chinese cruise.
안녕하세요. 저는 희가해라고 합니다.
Good afternoon, I am Hee Ga-hee.
话就是用中文来说。
Hello, I would like to speak in Chinese. I am with the China Merchants Cruise Research Institute. And first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for their invitation. Today, I would like to speak about the development and current status of China's cruise industry. The contents would include 4 parts. Number 1, global cruise industry development and trends. Number 2, current status and trends in China. Number 3, the Research Institute's strategy. And number 4, Korea-China cruise cooperation. I'd like to make some suggestions on that. First of all, regarding the global cruise industry development and trend, pre-COVID, the global cruise market was on a boom and continued a steady growth at 5% per annum. However, because of COVID, the global cruise market in 2020 started to decline, and in 2021, large shipping companies started to resume the cruise business, and in 2022 really recovered the business in earnest. However, during this period, the number of tourists in the cruise market was still below the level of 2019. So in 2020 to 2022, the number of tourists fell short of the level of 2019. And as the recovery became more clear, in 2024, we expect there to be 31.5 million cruise users. That would be 106% of 2019. And by 2035, the global cruise market users, the tourists, would reach 39.6 million, which is 127% of 2019. And at present, we believe that in the North American region, that will be the first place where the tourism will be recovered. So we have already surpassed the 2019 level there. In the case of Asia, that continued fast growth pre-COVID, the COVID is still very much alive, and so the demand remains from recovering. But with China allowing for full tourism, we expect there to be a quick recovery. Then let us look at the contraction in the order book of the cruise ships, and this is going to be very difficult to recover in a short period of time. If you look at the global cruise ship building market, the market remains far from recovery. Before COVID, other shipbuilding and ship ordering market recovered quickly, but because of COVID, there was a huge impact on the building of new cruise ships. In 2020, globally, 20 out of 24 cruise ships to be delivered, only 14 were delivered. Post-COVID recovery in cruise shipbuilding is there. The 2021 to 2022 levels are equivalent to the level of 2019. And for this year, the order declined dramatically, and the number of delivered ships may have been very small. Building new cruise ships starting in February 2024, has dropped, and new build orders have declined together with the decline in demand. However, because the ships are very expensive and because of a global downturn in the economy, the new build demand is very low, so it'll be difficult for this part of the market to recover anytime soon. In that case, let's look at the global shipbuilding cruise market restructuring, because COVID has really reshaped the market. With the Genting bankruptcy, large companies are really dominating the market, and cruise operating market has been restructured, and we can note the emergence of MSC. Although they operate a fewer number of routes than Norway, but compared to Norwegian, in terms of number of cabins, they are already in excess. So they have surpassed Norwegian, so MSC is world's number 3. The cruise operators are restructuring more quickly after COVID for low profit making cruise ships. These are sold out to focus business on profitable parts, and 13 cruises have been disintegrated so far. The average age is 18 years for cruise ships. So younger cruise ships, in terms of capacity and passenger, can meet demand. So going forward, these operators will not have a very high demand for new orders. Number 2 is China's development in cruise market. In the case of China, after COVID, the cruise industry has been reopened completely. For China, the Ministry of Transportation has announced plans to do so. And so the pilot run of cruise ships has been resumed. In May, Korea-China cruise pilot operations was announced, and so Shanghai has resumed operating cruise ships. So Shanghai will again lead the way in the cruise ship market in China. And in the cruise economy, China aims for advancement. In September, Shanghai Shenzhen cruise pilot route was announced, and this marks the beginning of the recovery of the cruise operations for China. And for domestic cruise ports, these ports have resumed their international operations. Under Adora, MSC started operating the cruise routes, and MSC leaves Tianjin, and for 6 to 7 days they run routes to Japan and to Korea. And there was a very explosive demand during the holidays, showing strong demand among the consumers. And so for China, Korea, Japan, and other destinations, tourist products sold very well. From China to Korea and to Japan, there was a huge a surge in the number of tourists. And during the national holidays, this demand went even further up. So that really shows a compensation consumption by the Chinese consumers. And I can reiterate that the domestic cruise market is very much alive. Chinese cruise tourist industries are really competing fiercely to develop products. Going forward in cruise market development, I believe this will offer a solid ground. This table shows a number of cruise-related policies announced in different regions. Qingdao, Tianjin, Dalian, and Shanghai announced different plans about the cruise tourism and industry development guidelines and measures and policies. But we should also remember that China's cruise tourism market in the past decade grew very rapidly, but since 2018, compared to the high-paced growth before, high-quality growth is now the focus of policies and strategies. Pre-COVID in 2019, the top 5 cruise ports of China had 687 cruise ships calling port. That's 87% of nationwide, and the number of international travelers recorded 381.8 million people. That's 92% total. For Shanghai, if you look at Shanghai port alone in 2018, there was a huge number of tourists who came to Shanghai. But in the case of Shanghai, the number of cruise tourists declined. But in other ports, that number increased. For instance, China's cruise tourism market was dominated by Shanghai, but ports in other areas are starting to receive a larger number of tourism and advancing quickly. So if I may introduce the Zhangang cruise. The Zhangang cruise operations resumed last year. During the COVID period, the domestic cruise line was able to develop according to critics, but the cruise industry is definitely developing in the Zhangang region. And this year, with the cruise operations resuming, many of the tourists are using this product, and the products continue to be upgraded. And also, for instance, thematic tourism relevant auxiliary services and facilities are now fully in place, and a large number of tourists reaching 1 million per year is using these cruises. For Zhangang and cruise, inbound tourists used to take up about 50%, but now domestic tourists are using this cruise a lot. And the age of the passengers is getting younger and younger. Originally, the majority of the users were old age, but now we have much higher proportion of those in their 30s and 40s. And next is a development strategy for the research institute that I belong to. This is the strategy for cruise industry development, cruise shipbuilding, operation, ports, auxiliary services. We want to provide a more unique and competitive cruise industry lines here. So in the group work, in relation to the cruises, all of the relevant work are providing a very good growth engine for us. And some of the products that we are releasing include inner city cruise, coastal cruise, inland Zhangang cruise, and ocean cruise. With Shanghai, Wuhan, Chongqing, in these 3 cities, we have inner city cruise operations. We have 4,326 seats available on the cruise. In 2019, this product accommodated 1.73 million tourists. For inland cruise in 2020 and 2021, we had about 3.5 million available seats on the cruise that was delivered. It was the very first hybrid type of cruise for China, meaning a hybrid type of fuel is used for this luxury cruise line, and these 2 were delivered by Hong Kong, Zhuhai, Macau, and Bay Bridge routes. And they are very popular products in China. And in particular, on national holidays during the Golden Holiday Week, the cruise was enormously popular. Consumers love to try out the luxury cruise. More in line with the changing trends, products are newly developed to meet the new demands. For Zhangang and other inland cruise, yes, of course, Zhangang is the most notable one. 1,722 seats are available. On top of the 6 existing cruise ships, there's Zhangang Changho, a newly built ship that has been added to the cruise product. More than 200 million yuan was invested into this new domestic cruise ship. This is a 6-story cruise, a very luxurious cruise. And starting last July, this ship has been added to our operations, and in Samhyup region, this cruise is operated. Since COVID, inside China, for the first time in Zhangang, this new ship was added to the cruise line. For Zhangang 3, from Chongqing to Wuhan and Chongqing to Shanghai is the route that it serves. And for this cruise ship inside China, this ship also represents eco-friendly and smart operations of domestic cruise. I think it will set an important standard. So going forward, the Zhangang cruise products will be enhancing their qualities mainly through this new ship. And also in 2020 December, we set up a joint venture with Viking Cruise. And we have established China's very first 5-star luxury cruise operator to satisfy the demand for such services in China. Last year, the cruise ship was registered already. And in October last year, from Xiamen to Shenzhen, we opened up a new route. Shenzhen will be the mother port. And connecting this to the inland cruise, we released another product that connects Shenzhen to Hong Kong. So we continue to create new products as we advance the cruise industry in China. Luxury cruise lines such as these are developed independently by China that meets the sentiment of the Chinese people. And in the process, we can build experience and continue to go ahead with quality development. Lastly, my proposal for Korea-China cooperation. First of all, as you know, the Korea-China cruise route since 2017 has been operating successfully. This August 10th, the Culture and Tourism Ministry in China declared the official resumption of the Korea-China cruise route, meaning that the cruise industry will connect the entire Northeast Asia, not just our 2 countries. Not only the Korean and Chinese cruise market, but for the entire Northeast Asian market, we can take the lead in developing the cruise industry. So for bilateral cooperation, I would like to propose these 4 ideas. Number 1, we need to reinforce the multifaceted cooperation between our 2 countries by sharing the market. The cruise market, demand is essential for the cruise market. In the case of China, the cruise industry is quite promising. For a long time to come, we need to reinforce our unique strengths to develop the cruise market. And in the case of Korea, Korea serves many destinations, so I think we each have our own unique strengths, and we need to be mutually complementary in developing routes and products, coordinating policies, sharing tourists, developing a pool of talents, and also connecting to on-land tourism. These are some of the possible areas of cooperation. Through various products, I think that we can breathe more life into the cruise industry. Number 2, joint operation of cruise model. Korea-China cruise tourism market are highly interdependent. And because we have companies that are very interested to work together with each other, we can create some sort of joint strategy. We can run a joint cruise company. We can jointly lease a cruise ship for operations, or in either of our countries, we can establish a joint venture. The two governments have already shown their support for these ideas. And number 3, we can build a standardization system for the cruise ports, for the mother ports or the ports that are called to. Most of the cruise ports are Korean and Chinese ports. So to recover the market, the government needs to provide more practical and stronger support. And our two countries need to respond flexibly. Among relevant institutions, we need to engage in exchanges. This is very important. After the end of COVID, for the development of the cruise industry, COVID facilities or customer service systems, well, these are areas where we can do some joint response, and we need to standardize the services. And number 4, we can set up a Korea-China cruise cooperation body, region-based consultative body can address the cruise shipping companies, cruise services, auxiliary services, and convention industries. They can all come on board for exchanges, market research, and better communication so that we can together advance the cruise market. And number 5, media cooperation. The press need to release a lot of positive reports so that bilateral friendly exchanges can continue. And this will ultimately be very important for the development of the cruise industry. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you. So that's the end of the 2 presentations. We will prepare the stage for panel discussion. Thank you.